Season 26 didn't just buff Mad Maggie, it evolved her. She's faster, meaner, and built to punish anyone who dares to hide behind cover. Her Riot Drill and Wrecking Ball now force enemies into the open, while her shotgun speed turns every close range fight into a slaughter. Mad Maggie is officially the ultimate close quarters predator, and today I'll show you how to master her new kit and dominate the lobby from start to finish. Let's get started. Let's first break down Mad Maggie's assault specific passive perks. First up, Combat Reserve. As an assault legend, Maggie can carry extra ammo per stack. For example, light ammo goes from 72 up to 96 per slot. That might not sound like much, but in extended gunfights, it adds up to multiple extra mags without burning your backpack. And on top of that, she gets 2 extra grenade-only slots, which saves a ton of space and lets you carry thermites, frags, or arc stars without sacrificing heals or ammunition. Extra nades are always good to have. And don't forget, she also has access to red extended supply bins, which provide high-value attachments specifically tailored to the weapons you have. Next is Stowed Reload. Any weapon Mad Maggie puts away will automatically reload after 2 seconds, basically giving her a built-in gold magazine effect. This lets you swap confidently mid-fight, knowing that when you return to that weapon, it'll be ready to fire again. Finally, we have Battle Surge. Breaking an enemy's shields instantly gives Maggie a speed boost and fast reloads. This turns her into an absolute momentum fighter. The moment you crack shields, Maggie can surge forward, reload instantly, and finish the fight before enemies can ever recover. Together, these assault perks amplify Mad Maggie's aggressive playstyle: more ammunition, more grenades, reloads weapons on swaps, and a momentum-fueled speed surge every time you deal shield damage. Now onto Maggie's unique passive, Warlord's Ire. When you damage an enemy, their silhouette is revealed through walls and cover for 0.8 seconds. This wall hack window may seem short, but in close range fights, it's enough to track their movement, predict peaks, and secure that final knock. Even a single pellet from your shotgun can give you the vision you need to chase someone down. But the real kicker is her shotgun speed boost. With any shotgun equipped, Mad Maggie moves at 1.15 times speed, the same pace as if her weapon was holstered. That means while other legends feel sluggish with a shotgun out, Maggie stays fast, fluid, and hard to hit. This bonus even applies while aiming down sights. Normally, ADS slows you down heavily, but Maggie's shotgun sprint only applies a tiny negative 3.5% penalty compared to other weapons. In practice, this makes her feel almost weightless in close-range duels, strafing faster and closing gaps while standing devastating shotgun shots. Put simply, Warlord's Ire gives Maggie unrivaled speed and wallhack intel that reward pure aggression. Now moving on to Maggie's tactical, Riot Drill, one of the most oppressive tools in the entire game when used correctly. The drill attaches to any surface, walls, doors, rocks, even Gibby bubbles, and burns enemies hiding on the other side. What makes it so strong is that it ignores cover entirely. No matter how safe the enemies think they are, once you stick that drill, their health bar is melting. And with their Season 26 buffs, this ability feels smoother than ever. The firing animation was sped up by 10%, and the drill now comes out immediately on release instead of having that awkward delay. These changes might sound small, but in practice, they make the tactical feel snappy, reliable, and unavoidable. Enemies don't have time to react, the burn starts instantly. Now there are 5 main ways to use Maggie's Riot Drill effectively. The first way is pure 1v1 panic. In a straight duel, the Riot Drill creates chaos. The moment an enemy sees flames crawling across your screen, panic sets in. That visual clutter alone throws off their aim and creates instant panic. They start spraying less accurately, moving unpredictably, and losing composure. Even if they're mechanically strong, most players struggle to fight cleanly through the chaos, giving you the perfect window to push and secure the kill. The second way is to use it as a damage initiator. If an enemy is hiding behind cover, a Riot Drill forces them to move. They'll panic, turn their back, and break their own positioning just to escape the burn. And once they're running, they aren't thinking about their angles or teammates, which leaves them completely exposed. Maggie thrives in that moment to free damage and easy eliminations. The third way is the opposite. Use it as a damage finisher. Let's say you've already chunked an enemy to low health and they retreat behind a wall. The Riot Drill makes sure they don't get away. The continuous burn finishes what your shot started, preventing resets, stopping revives, and even killing down enemies before their team can ever save them. It's like having a guaranteed closer in your pocket. No one is safe from Mad Maggie once they're tagged and trying to hide. And the fourth way is using it as recon in a defensive line. The drill isn't just about aggression, it can defend you too. Stick it in a hallway or a choke point while you heal or revive a teammate. Most enemies won't risk pushing through the fire, but if they do, you'll know instantly when the burn ticks. It essentially acts like a temporary alarm system, giving you free information while protecting your team's reset. And the fifth way is door play. One of the best tricks in Maggie's arsenal is sticking the drill directly onto a door an enemy is holding. Most players feel safe playing the other side of the door, ready to block pushes or heal up, but with Maggie, that cover becomes a death trap. The burn forces them off instantly, and if they're slow to react, it's basically a free kill. Against teams that rely on doors to stall fights, this tech makes Mad Maggie feel downright unfair. Now moving on to Mad Maggie's ultimate, Wrecking Ball. When you throw it, a large wrecking ball bounces off floors, walls, and ceilings, dropping speed boosting pads every 0.8 seconds in a zigzag trail. Stepping on these pads gives you and your team 30% movement speed boost for 3.5 seconds, and thanks to her Season 26 buffs, they also grant a temporary fortified buff, letting you tank damage while closing the gap. After bouncing a few times or colliding with an enemy, the ball explodes for up to 25 damage and briefly stuns anyone caught in the blast. With their latest changes, Wrecking Ball feels smoother than ever. The throw animation is now 25% faster, it's more reliable in navigating obstacles, and the explosion hits harder. The pads deactivate for 6 seconds after use so they can't be spammed, and the lifetime was slightly reduced to 7 seconds, but overall, the buffs massively outweigh these nerfs. Now there are 6 main ways to use her Wrecking Ball. The first way is for outdoor pushes. This is the bread and butter use. Throw the ball down in an open space to lead a charge. The speed pads help you and your team rush forward, while the fortified buff lets you eat more damage without getting shredded. If the ball connects with enemies, it damages and stuns them, creating the perfect entry to collapse. And even if the ball doesn't hit them, you can still use the speed and fortified buff to win almost all your 1v1s. Think of it as Maggie's signal to go all in. Once the ball starts rolling, the floor is yours. The second way is for indoor pushes. Throwing the Wrecking Ball inside a building guarantees chaos. The ball bounces around the room, repeatedly slamming into enemies until they're damaged and disoriented. Once they're stunned, you can close distance and clean up fast. Indoor pushes are where Maggie feels downright unfair. No other legend can force this level of panic indoors. It turns a cramped room into your personal kill box. The third way is for defense. If you're being pushed unexpectedly, drop the Wrecking Ball instantly to flip the script. The ball's knockback stuns enemies and gives you breathing room to reset or counterattack. It acts like a panic button. One press and suddenly the fight is broken apart on your terms. Used correctly, it doesn't just save you, it completely shifts the momentum in your favor. Now here's a pro tip. Mad Maggie's ultimate can actually break other legends' defenses. A Rampart camping behind her walls? Perfect, Wrecking Ball smashes straight through while stunning her team. A Gibby Bubble blocking you off? Both your ultimate and tactical can shred it and burn everyone inside. Against defensive setups, Maggie becomes the ultimate counter pick. This makes her one of the few legends in the game that directly punishes defense strategies and forces campers to move. The fourth way to use her ult is for emergency escapes. Sometimes the fight goes bad, and that's when Wrecking Ball doubles as your exit. Pop it and sprint. With a fortified buff active, it makes it harder for your enemies to gun you down. It's essentially a get out of jail free card similar to Wraith's Tactical. It's one of the only ultimates in Apex that works just as well for retreating as it does for aggression. The fifth way is for wide rotations. If you're trying to outrun a zone, make a long flank, or rotate your squad across dangerous ground, Wrecking Ball becomes a moving highway. The pads let your team rotate faster and safer while the fortified buff absorbs chip damage along the way. This makes risky late game rotations far safer, letting you reach positions other squads simply can't contest. And the sixth way is as a decoy. You can throw the ball in one direction just to fake your push. Enemies see the pads and ball rolling their way, and they assume you're coming with it. Meanwhile, you're rotating or flanking the opposite direction. It's a clever bait that buys your team space without committing. The best part is how often enemies are distracted by the ball, giving you an easy angle to punish or rotate. Moving on to Maggie's perks. At level 2 she has two options. The first is Gunrunning. This extends Maggie's passive shotgun speed to SMGs and pistols as well. If you're not planning to run a shotgun, this perk is extremely powerful. In close range duels, strafing at that boosted speed with an SMG or pistol makes you incredibly hard to track, and it gives you a huge edge in 1v1 fights. The second is Fireball. With this perk, your Wrecking Ball drops lines of magma wherever it bounces, adding chip damage and zone denial. It also gives Maggie 50% reduced fire damage, which is clutch if you step into your own magma or get caught in thermites. This perk not only helps with extra damage, but also serves as a recon tool, letting you see where enemies are burning and moving. Both perks are strong, but the choice depends on your loadout. If you're sticking with the shotguns, Gunrunning isn't necessary. If you're flexing with SMGs or pistols, Gunrunning is a must. And if you want extra utility out of your ult, Fireball brings damage and survivability. At level 3, Maggie again has two choices. The first is Drillslinger. This perk gives you a second Riot Drill charge, but shortens each drill's active duration by 25%. In practice, this trade-off is almost always worth it. 2 drills means double the pressure, one to force movement, another to finish, or one to block doors, while the other one denies revives. The sheer versatility makes this perk the go-to almost every single time. The second option is Big Drill. This increases the depth and width of your tactical by 50%. On paper it sounds strong, but in reality, most players will move out of the way as soon as they're burning, so the wider spread rarely makes a difference. It can be useful if enemies are trapped in tight spaces, but it's much more situational compared to Drillslinger. So overall, at level 2 both perks are viable depending on your weapon choices. But at level 3, Drillslinger, aka having 2 drills, is almost always the stronger option to pick. Now shotguns are Maggie's true forte, and with their built-in movement speed boost, they fit her playstyle perfectly. Let's go through each one and see how they rank when paired with Mad Maggie. First up, the Peacekeeper. Even after its slight nerf, with the increased blast pattern size when choked, the PK is still a powerhouse. It delivers solid damage, has consistent 2-tap potential, and can even outgun most SMGs at close range. And on top of that, it now holds 6 shells before reloading instead of 5, which adds up quickly in extended gunfights. For Maggie, the Peacekeeper feels smooth, reliable, and deadly. Overall, it earns a 10 out of 10. Up next, the MASTIFF. The MASTIFF hits just as hard as the PK in close range fights, but it lacks a choke for mid-range consistency. Its flatter pellet spread means it can feel more punishing if you miss your shots, and sometimes it doesn't land as clean as you'd like. Still, in those face-to-face moments, it absolutely deletes enemies. For Maggie, the MASTIFF is a fantastic pick, a strong 9 out of 10. Third, the EVA 8. Now the EVA 8 isn't terrible, but it's not exceptional either. Since it's technically an automatic shotgun, you'll find yourself burning through ammo much faster, and its damage just doesn't hit as hard as the PK or the MASTIFF this season. Now that said, it's more forgiving if you miss your shots, making it easier to use in chaotic gunfights. For Maggie, the EVA 8 is a decent 7 out of 10. And finally, the Mozambique. Even with dual Mozam setup, this weapon feels extremely weak. Without hammer point rounds, its damage potential is at the bottom of the shotgun class. And on top of that, the dual Mozams feel awkward to aim and shoot, and every missed shot is heavily punishing. It's really just a placeholder until you can grab a PK or a MASTIFF. For Maggie, the Mozambique is a rough 3 out of 10. So overall, if you want to bring out the best in Mad Maggie, the Peacekeeper and MASTIFF are her true bread and butter guns. EVA 8 can work as a backup, and Mozambique should really only be used until you find something better. Now let's talk about the recommended amp for Mad Maggie. Now with most legends, I usually suggest the Power Booster amp because it rewards you with an extra tactical whenever you get a knock, and it synergizes well with aggressive play. On Maggie, this means more opportunities to get her Riot Drill charges back, which on paper sounds like a great fit. But here's a problem, Maggie is constantly placing herself in danger. Her ultimate can damage her if it bounces awkwardly, which it definitely does all the time, her tactical can burn her if placed wrong, and even her Fireball perk creates magma lines that you can accidentally walk into. When you add in how often she's in the middle of a fight, the self-damage adds up. That's why the Overflow Healer amp is a smarter pick for Mad Maggie. Being able to regenerate both health and shield on the go plays perfectly into her aggressive momentum-driven playstyle. It keeps you alive while you're diving into enemies with Wrecking Ball or juggling double drills with Drillslinger. And since Maggie already has so much raw stopping power in her kit, the sustain from Overflow Healer gives you more value than simply chasing more damage. So while Power Booster has its place, for Mad Maggie, the Overflow Healer amp is the most reliable and consistent choice. As you can see, Mad Maggie has evolved into one of the most dangerous close-range legends in Apex. With her Riot Drill burning campers out of cover, her Wrecking Ball breaking defenses and creating chaos, and her shotgun speed turning fights into slaughterhouses, she's officially the ultimate close quarters predator. If this video helped you out, drop a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more Apex Legends guides. Now if you have some gameplay that you'd like me to review and give you personalized feedback on ways to improve, as well as becoming a part of the Sonyx community, join my Discord, the links are all below. Also, I have researched the best controllers to use for Apex. I've linked those in this video if you pause your screen right now and click here. And if you want to climb faster in rank this season, click here for 50 insane tips. Thank you so much for watching, have a great day, and please never forget to take care.